Hello, good morning, everyone who all are joining in and who may join later in the session. This is your host, Himanshi Kaushik, and I sincerely welcome everyone on this session of career opportunities in political science and public administration. And before we move on to this session, we have our experts here to tell more about the opportunities that we can have in the political science and public administration. So please welcome Dr. Pavitra Prakash. He is a professor and dean, School of Liberal and Creative Arts, Social Sciences and Languages. He is a doctorate in management with three PGs as in postgraduates in physics, English, and management. And he has keen interest in international politics, international relations, strategic management, etc. And he will be actually guiding us through the topic. And he has his specialization in advertising, marketing, international marketing, business environment, product and brand management, and organizational behavior as well. And along with him, we are also joined by Dr. Manvendra Singh. He is Associate Professor, Department of Government and Public Administration, Academic Operations Coordinator, School of Liberal and Creative Arts. And along with him, we have another expert, Dr. Zahoor Ahmedwani. He is an Assistant Professor of Schools Social Sciences domain. So I welcome all the experts here, Pavitra sir, Manvendra sir, and Zahoor sir. And with this, sir, I please request you to please take over the screen now, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Himakshi ma'am. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to interact with the wider audience for the a very important domain of social sciences, which is political science and public administration. Both of these are a kind of sister domains to each other. One is bigger, second one is coming as an offspring. So there is always a fight whether political science comes out of public administration or public administration come out of political science. But both of them goes hand in hand, and what not to create a debate and tell the audience about the wider meaning of what is political science and public administration. I have with me able friends, Dr. Manvendra, who is always there hand in hand to me for last 7 to 8 years in this organization, and in the earlier organizations also he has done marvel. He represents the public administration. He is actually the father of public administration in LPU. He started the public administration and government policy and public administration department. And I have got one of the sage editors with me, Dr. Zahoor. He represents the political science department. He is a very avid reader and a very widely celebrated political analyst in his own perspective. He's a very opinionated and a very strong-headed person for that purpose. He has got opinion for everything and a very good person of geopolitical and international relations. He has a mind to listen to. I welcome both of these colleagues to me, and let's see. Let's begin the discussion with the next slide, Doctor. Can we move to the next slide, please? Hadi. This gives us a small understanding of political science and public administration. So I'll start with Dr. Manvendra. What do we mean by public administration? Although the sequence should go to Zahoor, but we always say right hand is the better hand. So Dr. Manvendra is sitting on the right hand. Manvendraji, what is public administration as such? Can you?
Yes, sir. Please. Thank you so much, respected sir. It's your greatness and kindness that you have introduced me in such a manner. Thank you once again for that. So when we talk about public administration, the journey of public administration is compared to other social sciences disciplines, specifically political science, is relatively new because started during 1850s time period with the introduction of the systems approach to study administrative law by the famous scientist of that time period of 1855 from Austria, Vienna, Lorenz von Stein, who has tried to focus upon the executive and implementation side of the government. And thereby, the next series came from the famous person Woodrow Wilson, who is considered as the founding father of the discipline of public administration with the publication of his famous article, The Study of Administration, in the famous journal of that time, Political Science Quarterly. So with this, public administration has gained momentum. So basically, what is public administration in simple words? It is the most obvious side of the government. It is the visible side of the government. It is the government in action. It is the executive arm, executive branch of the government. It is the implementation side of the government. So basically what happens is there was a dichotomy between political science and public administration. When we think about political science, it always theoretically tries to define power, state, authority, and its relationship with the citizens and society at large. Now, as we all know that if we talk about the arms and organs of the government, there are three important organs of the government, which are legislature, executive, and judiciary. So, this person, Woodrow Wilson, has tried to focus upon this implementation side. Why? Because the state as an institution was continuously not able to achieve the efficiency, effectiveness, and economic outcomes in terms of optimization of the resources or the utilization of resources in an optimum manner by maximizing the welfare of the citizens and the state at large. So gradually with the time, this evolution, this growth of public administration right from the 1887 till 1970s onwards, which is further bifurcated into 5 important stages, like 1887 to 1926, it was the politics and administration dichotomy. Then from 1927 to 1937, it was the principles of administration era, in which a lot of thinkers, lot of scholars, lot of practitioners, lot of administrators in public sector have emerged and tried to classify and differentiate public administration from political science. And then the latest phase of this public administration, which is the public policy phase, which are currently we are in this public policy phase, which is trying to maximize the development orientation. So basically, when we talk about state was earlier all about maintenance of law and order in the society. Gradually, state's definition was about maintenance of law and order in the society along with the welfare orientation. Then with that, over a time period, it focused upon development administration as well, which is a relatively new branch of public administration, that how as a nation, as a country, we can be developed in terms of polity, in terms of state, in terms of government, in terms of politics, in terms of welfare of the people, in terms of capacity enhancement, in terms of administrative capabilities, in terms of administrative development as a whole. So this is a brief introduction.
It's not a brief, but it's a very elaborative, and you have point-wise explained the meaning of public administration. Doctor, if I wish to understand it, in computer science we say one is the back-end decoding. So maybe political science relates over there, and second one is the front end. But we see, like we type in Swiggy, we see the Swiggy. So
Absolutely.
public administration is that kind of a phase.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. And along with me, I have along with us, we have our learned friend Dr. Zahoor. Dr. Zahoor, can you somehow explain us political science, and if possible, try to differentiate it with public administration as Sir has said in your own words?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. This question, what political science is, there is no precise or authentic definition or understanding of this subject. So let me frame this question in this way: what political science basically does, and why we choose political science. So these are the two fundamental questions, and again, there is no precise definition or understanding of these two questions. But as per my own understanding, there are many reasons, there are many answers to this, but I clubbed them into two assumptions. One assumption deals with the general. The second assumption that is very, very specific, and I will talk about those two. So what political science basically does, if we look at the literature of political science, See, this subject it basically came out from the political philosophy when Socrates, before Socrates, there were philosophers. They have started debating and discussing moral and political questions. But the credit goes to Aristotle, who is considered the founding father of political science. Why he is considered the founding father of political science? There are so many reasons, but one reason is this: that he has studied this subject in a systematic manner. So let me come to the two assumptions. The first one is the general assumption, and the second one that is the specific assumption. The general assumption is this: when we talk about political science, it is the ideal choice for students. Why I'm saying that this is the ideal choice for students? Because those who want to understand, those who want to evaluate the function of government, that is very important in today's societies or today's states. And then the second point related to this, the politics, the nature, the scope, or the debates on politics, that is the thing. And overall, there is a third element relating to this, that is the society. But society, but above society there is state. So it talks about this state as well. It talks, not only talks, it basically understands and it gives explanation about these things. So it is a perfect subject. Perfect subject in what sense? For anyone who is interested in learning how political systems function, that I have already mentioned, and those who aspire to develop essential critical as well as analytical thinking. So in today's world, or in medieval, basically in medieval world, critical thinking played an important role to brought this medieval world into the modern world. So let me go back to Aristotle, who is the father of this subject, who once said that this subject is the queen of the subject. One, as well as he also mentions this subject, it is basically the master of the sciences. So it basically appeals to students. This subject appeals to those students who are excited about exploring the background to current events, the nature and use of different concepts, including, Sarah has already mentioned, if we talk of state, power, justice, and all those, and how decisions are made, fundamental question in today's world, and how those decisions they are impacted on the society or on the state. So this is the general assumption related to political science. Now let me come back to specific. Why I'm talking about specific? Because we do over here LPU, we teach students how to develop exceptional communication skills, as well as how to think critically, as well as how to write on national politics as well as global issues. And in global issues, there is one fundamental issue, that is the environmental catastrophe that is going on. So, and this set of skills that I have mentioned and understandings, this basically help students to their professional pathway they pursue, as well as those who are interested, becoming more engaged in public affairs and in understanding activities and ideas that will shape the future. Then political science is the degree choice for you. So one more thing, as Sarah has already mentioned, this thing, what is the difference between political science and public administration? See, he has, Maninder sir has already mentioned this when Woodrow Wilson, when he started this debate, when he wrote down that article, the Study of Administration. So in that article, he has said this thing, that politics that deals with the public affairs, and administration that is basically implementation of those political activities. So political science, if we look at the genesis of political science, then we have to go back to the ancient Greeks. So that means around 2700 years before, when Aristotle, who studied in Plato's academy for 20 years, see how this critical thinking emerged. Plato and Aristotle, Plato was the teacher of Aristotle, and Aristotle, what he did, he criticized his own teacher. One is criticism, the second one is he rejected some of his ideas and built up new ideas. Right. Yeah, so from there, we have this kind of
Socrates, Aristotle, Plato, yeah, they are the
backbone of
they are
the backbone of
this subject. Thank you, Dr. Zahoor, for saying it again. It all boils down to what you make in political science, they execute in public administration. They are the face, you are the mind and soul of it. So If mind and soul is impure, the face is also going to be
Exactly.
distorted kind of. And if the face is distorted, the mind or soul has to research and revamp itself. Thank you. Dr. We we can go on to this debate for years and years about political science and administration. There are far-flung subsidiaries and territories of it, tertiaries of it. Uh, in, if as a student I wish to take political science or public administration, one was it is one of the best subjects to crack the IS. Any kind of a civil services, so both of these subjects become some kind of a, if there is a dish, then in that dish, that a platter, if it is a platter served to us of a dish or a lunch, so 50% will be either the political science or the public administration kind of a thing. So one is, it's a traditional way of getting the job that ones who aspire for any kind of state civil services or the central civil services,
including the foreign offices as well.
Including the foreign. So these are the best choices to engage oneself into the study of it and crack.
Yeah, these are the premier.
And what are the other opportunities of employability for my students or the audience who wish to listen? How the job prospects change?
Okay, thank you, sir, for this question, as it's a very pertinent question. So here I would like to highlight. Can you please move on to the next slide, Himanshi ma'am? Okay, so when we talk about the career opportunities for the domains of political science and public administration, as Dr. Zahoor has highlighted, that he has quoted Aristotle. He said that political science is the queen of all the social sciences. So here I would like to highlight that if political science is the queen, so the king who really go to the field, who really execute, who really implement whatever has been made and said through policies, rules, regulations, laws, action, it came into action by this king called public administration. So why I'm highlighting it? Because see, we are having ample number of policies. We can have ample number of rules, regulations, but they won't make any sense until unless their execution and implementation has been done in the most efficient, effective and economic manner. So for that, we are having the prestigious civil services, not only in this country, but across the globe now. So the original precursor of these civil services were the mighty imperialists or the Britishers. So they have started it for the purpose of commercial purpose, for the purpose of smoothing the administration of their commercial activities, which were primarily located at that time in India. At that time, we were having only 3 presidencies. One was the Calcutta. Second, after that, they have created Bombay presidency, and later on the Madras presidency. So for smoothing out their administrative task, they have started this imperial civil services, later on becoming the Indian civil services, and after independence of India in 1947, it is now known as Indian Administrative Services, which is IAS. So ultimately, if you really want to directly work with the people, if you think that you can bring change, and undoubtedly, if you are into the civil services, you are having that power, you are having that authority, you are having that, change making authority. You can make decisions and you can change, you can bring change in the society, which is the main purpose of the political science, that ultimately why we are working towards the betterment or the welfare orientation of the state. It is mainly because we want that our people should be developed. We want that if our country is underdeveloped or in the category of developing nations, sooner or later we might also come closer to the developed nation. So for that, we are having not only our country's responsible government, we are also having the United Nations, we are also having the Millennium Development Goals, which are now known as the Sustainable Development Goals, and every country who is part of this United Nations organization is getting funding for this prime purpose. So after every 3 to 5 years, there is a monitoring and evaluation committee that will be sitting and that will be evaluating what you have done from the funds that we have allocated to you, how much in terms of literacy, in terms of employment opportunities, in terms of removal of hunger, in terms of removal of excessive amount of maternal mortality rate or female feticide rate has been reduced, and how much actually means in terms of, there are two terms. One is policy outcome and policy output, and second is policy outcome. So in terms of outcome, how have you fared? So on that basis, your next funding will depend upon. So if you really are into making some change in the society, if you really are very much passionate about civil services by serving the people, and please don't come with the impression that, okay, I'm joining the civil services so that I can get that power, prestige, perks and privileges. They are the side thing, they are the side add-on things, okay? But your main intention should be that I want to serve my place, I want to serve my country, I want to serve my nation, and whatever power that the constitution has given through the government, through my recruiters, I'm going to serve my people to the bestest of my capacities. Then,
so one of the best job option is the civil service.
Civil services.
What is the other option?
Yes, sir. Apart from civil services,
one you.
Yes.
That around. Let's have.
So, yeah.
Dr. Zahoor, please.
Yeah. So one thing, before I will come to the second one, as Doctor has said that what Aristotle said, he said queen as well as the master. So let me clarify this thing.
And I am saying king.
So let me come to the second one. So except civil services or foreign offices, there are other opportunities available as per the job prospects are concerned. Let me take the research for an example. So one can go for the research, be a research assistant if one completes a degree. So one can go for research, become a research assistant or research associate as well. And one can go beyond research assistant and research associate. One can do PhD even on this subject for study. So where one can not only earn but as well as
where
earn
are
in
the
the field.
research opportunities available?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. There are so many think tanks, or there are so many universities where research they call research assistants, they call research associates, or they call for the PhDs. Now, let me take one example. PISA is the best example. Okay, or Carnegie is the best example. Peace conflict institution is the best example. And these are some. There are hundreds of institutions, including think tanks, where one can pursue research, be it assistant, be it associate, or be it.
Here I would like to quote one of my students who has done MA Public Administration and who has been selected and chosen for pursuing the internship at the international organization, the United Nations organization. He got his posting in Thailand initially, and later on he posted to Malaysia. And after completion of his internship, he is now working as a rule of law officer for the United Nations organization. So after every 2 years or 2.5 years, he got posted to different missions and the postings both within India and both outside India as well. So this is one of the example. Another example is one of our students from MA Public Administration. He is currently working with a multinational company in Japan, and he is working on the translation of some public administration and political science related work from a Japanese multinational company. Now, this company we had started with the under the able leadership and guidance of Professor PP sir, respected Dean sir, who has initiated a new kind of continuous assessment procedure in which we are focusing upon the experiential learning and the online paid projects for this skill enhancement of the students. So in which he started his journey with continuous assessment. He has been to many deputy commissioner's office at local level in Jalandhar, and later on to many other international agencies also. And somehow he got an internship opportunity with this Japanese firm. Then after internship opportunity, currently he is doing his internship, and we expect that he might get the PPO free placement offer as well.
That's
Who knows that?
That's something else about
apart from this, as sir has already highlighted, research in different think tanks and both at national level, at international level, there are few opportunities in private sector also, which very few people are aware about. That if I am taking political science or if I am taking public administration, so I have to work only for the governmental institutions. No, it is not like that. If you are really motivated by monetary factors and quick career progression and quick career enhancement, then private sector can be considered by these students. So in this corporate sector, you are having opportunities. You can work in PR, public relations, as an administrator, as a manager. And let me tell you that this PR is not only for the private sector, but also in different non-governmental organizations, also in different CSR recruiting agencies also, which is corporate social responsibility. And apart from this, government is also having its own separate ministries and dedicated departments, which hires the interns for this. So once you complete your internship for this, then you may be able to get the placement also, both within the public as well as in private sector.
And he can be an analyst also. In your case, in the,
yes, sir, absolutely.
He can be analyst of all the
public policies. Yes, sir,
whatever
absolutely.
government has, like
whether it
was
is
saying research. So he can be analyst in that without all the policies.
For example,
analyzed.
yes, sir, absolutely. For example, recently the government of India has revamped the education policy by introducing the NAP, National Education Policy, in 2020. So if you are really interested in doing some policy analysis, so you can be hired by the governmental agencies, okay,
Yes.
as well as the private agencies which are working, and also the think tanks which are working for the education sector, which are working for the betterment of education curriculum, design, and skill enhancement. Now the focus is on skill enhancement. Gone were the days when students were only, reading the textbooks and doing the traditional orthodox methods of, teaching, or the orthodox methods of studying. Nowadays, we are, even here, we are conducting our classes outside the classroom. So in order to give the students the real exposure, practical exposure, this is the change. So if you are interested in working in these directions, you can also consider these public policy analysis. You can consider private sector, corporate sector. You
like
can
Amazon and Swiggy was Amazon and Zomato opened opportunities for public administration students.
absolutely.
So corporate side, all the very multinational, which is
Yes, sir.
may name brands.
Yes, yes.
And in
Please, sorry, right? Please,
in political science, if we look at the career, so political leadership is very important. Even whenever we see any politician and we believe in political science, though that's completely different. Politics is one thing, politician is another. Politician may be wrong, so politics may not be wrong.
Politics.
So
Political science may not be wrong. Politicians may
be wrong. So there is this categorization, there is this separation. So person may be and the subject may not be.
Just a question in between to interpret your interrupt your thought.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is your take? Will a political science student be a good politician?
Yeah, that is what I am going to
Okay.
highlight this point. So what basically politics is not a monologue. Okay. Politics is basically a dialogue. Dialogue of what? Dialogue basically relates to society. Suppose when we three are having a dialogue, so if we have a problem, suppose environmental pollution, we do talk about the environmental catastrophe, environmental pollution, or climate change. So now we three, we do talk about this. So we are having a dialogue about a particular problem, and we are trying to solve this particular problem. So this is the one categorization. As for me, this is my personal opinion. Yeah, this is my personal opinion. Yeah, one should read political science in order to become a politician. So I hope those who read political science rigorously and extensively will do a tremendous job in politics. So that is what Plato said. Let me drop a Plato over here. What he said.
So today Plato and Socrates will be all awake.
No. Okay, yes. So what when this question goes to him, he said that philosopher, ruler must be the king of the state. Yeah, why did he say that philosopher, ruler? And for that, he kept a procedure to become a philosopher. Till 35, you have to study a lot. You have not only politics, you have to be trained in mathematics. You have to be trained in economics in order to solve the problems that society faces. So in that
So
sense,
there are two things that sir is highlighting. Very correct point that Plato's school was known as the famous school of wisdom.
Yeah, wisdom.
And in that school of wisdom, it was not easy to get entry.
Exactly.
Because surprisingly, he was teaching philosophy, but for understanding and getting entry for learning that philosophy, a student, they have mentioned outside their school, the board eligibility condition, a student must be proficient in mathematics.
Without mathematics and mathematics, no one is allowed.
Without mathematics, a person is not allowed to take entry into that famous school of wisdom to learn philosophy.
Wow.
So this was
Any logic?
Yeah, so see, when we do talk, he basically borrowed this idea from Pythagoras. Yeah, Pythagoras. Because Pythagoras is known
Today you are making all the great
ancient Greek philosophers.
And everyone you are making them away. They must be listening to your lectures.
Recently, a scholar of West, he wrote a book, Plato Goes to China. See, if China is rising, so he says, we have taken Plato very seriously. Their leadership is taking Plato so seriously, in his opinion.
And not only this, here also I would like to highlight that in modern days, whether it is a UPSC civil service exam, whether it is any competitive exam, any bank probationary officer clerk exam, any kind of defense exam, any kind of competitive exams, they have a compulsory paper called reasoning. And in reasoning, they have a compulsory option called syllogism. And that syllogism is completely derived from the teachings of the dialogue and debate that happened between these trio of Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. So from that, they have deciphered this, and later on, even in today's time period, in 2023, we are following to what? Syllogism.
Yes.
Date back to 4th century, 3rd century BC time period.
Even when we look at these, these subjects, let us take an example of international relations.
Let's finish that by maths.
Okay, because it basically widens your horizon. It makes it compulsory to think rationally.
And
So,
most importantly, you are able to think analytically. So if you are able to analyze the things, means the main agenda of Plato and Aristotle was like if there is a wall, they call it, you heard the famous analogy of cave, in which whatever you see is, may not be the exact thing. There is something else behind that object or whatever you see. So that's why even today's time period, like you are having those options in the competitive exams, like if A is dog, B is cat, and if C is rat, then prove how D is cow.
like this.
So because it was a very tremendous kind of, analytical, they try to develop the critical analytical thinking abilities, which is nowadays considered by the revised Bloom's taxonomy also. We follow that stage that we start from remember, then we proceed to understand, then apply, then analyze, then evaluate, and then finally to create.
But this dog, rat, and cow question is real question? Or
Yes, no. I'm just giving it an supposed figure, but otherwise it is there in
Kind of a question.
Yes,
They have started a debate between the idea and the matter, and this is civil education, idea and matter.
And so it is verbal also and non-verbal also.
Even practical level too. So that's why sometimes you say that basically there is a political and then the science. If those people are natural scientists are doing science, then what does it mean for doing people to do? So if we go through the literal meaning of this word science, and what science basically? Science is basically systematic thinking of anything. So we can also do that. They do that. They do in the lab, we do in the lab.
Great.
So
I think your ideas are being lived by Flach, Ashoka, and so many other liberal institutes like we are also doing. We have opened the wide horizon of options for the students to choose from mathematics to economics to political science to social sciences and so many others. Thank you, learned friends, for being around, and I know this debate can go on and on. And with the intellectual mind like you sitting over here, I have got some homework for me in my brain to when I listen to that analogy of cave and when this dog, cow, rat, and question, I will definitely think. We leave the dais open for any questions, Himakshi ma'am.
And here I would again, with your permission,
Sir.
here again I would like to highlight by summarizing that after all the dialogue and debate that happened in political science, then you can approach us for its execution and implementation.
So this debate of political science and public administration, as an administrator, I am always saying over here. But both these subjects are having their own benefits, their own nuances. Definitely, public administration is comparatively a new field, but it has grown much in stature. And political science, definitely, from whichever field you are, you cannot live without the understanding of political science. What is politics? It defines so much of society that it's the backbone. Thank you, Himakshi, for giving us time. We are open for, house is open for the queries or any questions if you have. Both these gentlemen will answer, one from political science, one from public administration. You both may join the chairs so that the audience can see.
Always.
I'll take the back. Your voice is not audible.
Thank you, sir, for like having this discussion. And our participants must have also got a lot of information. So there's one question that comes to all of the experts here, like what are the advancements or let's say growth our student in LPU have done in the past from the particular domains like social sciences or public administration. Zahur sir, we can start with you and then we'll go to Pavitra sir and then or Pavitra sir, please.
On the performance of
I'm letting both of them answer.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Those are over to you. Past performance of the students from political science who have excelled in the field of political science.
Okay, as far this question is concerned, we have some students who have qualified even net exam in political science, and some of them they are working in different institutions. This is the one thing, and there are, as per I know this thing, and there are a few students who are working on their proposals as well. Proposals to submit for this research assistant and research assistant job. So this, as I know regarding political science. So what about?
Okay, now I will take on the public administration domain that how the students have performed. I would not only say perform, but have excelled in the field of the domain of public administration. So we have started as a very, emerging new department in 2017. And the first batch, you would be surprised to hear that 90% students were foreign students, who are international students. So those students, after completion of their MA degree in public administration from this institution, they got, if they are coming on the government sponsorship, okay, through the government sponsorship, they have got the promotion. I know right from that batch, 2017, which has passed out in 2019 batch. So passing out 19, 20, 21, 22 batch, 4 batches have been passed out, and in, very soon the 23 batch will also be in that position, who will be also in the comparatively and relatively very good commanding position. So one student, in fact 4 students who were from Malawi, they were on the government sponsored fellowship, and after completion of their programs at LPU, they got promotion. So for example, they have joined here as an executive officer in the government of Malawi. After completion of the MA public administration, they promoted to commissioner, district commissioner, and they are very senior civil servants, very senior bureaucrat positions. Another students who are freshers and relatively with less experience, work experience in the field of government and public administration, they have also got very good opportunities in international organizations. One example I have given you, one student whose name was Sen Hakong from the northeast region of India, and he has got his internship opportunity in the United Nations organizations posted at Thailand, and after completion of that, he got promoted to rule of law officer working for the UN missions, both nation as well as international. Another student was recently who has successfully able to fetch the internship from the Japanese multinational company, and we are hopeful that very soon he may be getting a PPO, which is the pre-placement offer, from the same firm. And even if not from the same firm, then at least he is having that international skills, he is having that international exposure, which will make him, which will enable him to fetch another good employment opportunity and job prospects from other international agencies.
Sure.
Besides this, we are having few students who are able to, qualify in different competitive exams, not necessarily from teaching or research, but in like defense. So there were two students who were preparing for combined defense services, who were preparing for police sub-inspector exam, who were preparing for, security related, police forces related career opportunities. And after completion of the degree, they were able to get those positions as well. So here it's a blended learning. What you are going to learn is not only focusing upon one particular kind of offline method, but here it's a combination of so many different pedagogical methods and the enrichment activities which will make the students, to learn the practical skills and to enhance their exposure both at national and international level, thereby fetching the good employment prospects. So over to you, Himanshi ma'am.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much. With this, sir, I would just want to take your permission to wrap this session because we're having another session in just 3 minutes now.
Yes, ma'am. Please,
So
please go
shall I
ahead.
wrap this session, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Okay. Thank you
If
so
there is
much,
any
sir.
other query, then you can please let us know. Otherwise,
Yeah.
over to you, please.
So we're done with the queries, and if I just want to let them know that if you have any other queries, so the session will be uploaded on YouTube as well. You can maybe
Okay.
post a comment there, and we can then add those comments to our experts, and then we can maybe have another session. Let's say maybe in next 10 or 12 days we can have another session, and all those query can be discussed in that session, sir.
Sure,
And
sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Anytime. Anytime.
with this,
For
sir,
we are having both for political science, Dr. Zahu, and public administration, me, myself. Anytime, please.
and with this, sir, I take all the participants and of course all the experts leave here. And until the next webinar, I just want everybody to stay safe. And with this, sir, thank you so much for joining in. And thank you so much, participants, for joining in the session. Thank you.
Thank you.